Omega is coming. First Godzilla, then Omega. 10K daily, 100K daily. We'll see. Like, it just seems inevitable that the system is so broken, the spring is coiled so tightly that I honestly wake up every day, I look at it, I'm expecting to see it going up 10K, 20K, 30K.
Mow uses powerful metaphors to describe Bitcoin's trajectory. The initial phase, which he dubs Godzilla, represents a significant but manageable surge in value, with Bitcoin climbing in increments of $10,000 to $100,000 daily. This phase sets the stage for Omega, a dramatic rebalancing of the global financial system. The increasing hash rate, a measure of Bitcoin's network security and activity, is another bullish indicator. For Mow, the combination of escalating demand, restricted supply, and a robust hash rate points to an inevitable paradigm shift.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
But if you look at it, the demand is far outpacing supply, and sellers seem to be exhausted. So I don't know where it's coming from. I have a theory that it's paper Bitcoin saturating the market.
ETFs?
I don't know, maybe more FTX style. So
Interesting.
we'll see what happens, but that cannot be kept up forever.
Okay.
And I think the demand from the ETFs is sort of like coiling the spring even tighter, removing the mine supply. And you have miners that are stopping selling and starting to be net buyers too, because if they're public, they should be able to issue debt to buy Bitcoin. So Omega is coming. First Godzilla, then Omega. 10K daily, 100K daily. We'll see. Like, it just seems inevitable that the system is so broken, the spring is coiled so tightly that I honestly wake up every day, I look at it, I'm expecting to see it going up 10K, 20K, 30K.
And the hash rate is also at a very high rate, right?
Yeah. Trump likes to checkmark his promises. Like when he said he'll build a wall, he didn't build a wall straight across, which was kind of implying. He built a wall like, part way. So if he says he's going to create a Bitcoin reserve treasury of 1 million Bitcoin, if he does 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, that's still good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will be a signal to the rest of the world that this is happening. And I think the domino effect will start to kick off when they see the US actually making a move. And I believe the US has to make a move because they're kind of backed into a corner with the spiraling debt that there is no way to get out of. The only way is to rebase the Bitcoin. And Trump has hinted at it. I don't know if he really understands it, but he said, we'll pay off the debt with a little bit of Bitcoin.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did.
In the speech?
We'll give him a little bit of debt.
Okay.
We'll give him a little bit of Bitcoin to pay the debt. And I've been saying you should just rebase dollars to Satoshi and say your debt is now repayable in sats.
Uh-huh.
And you might think it's crazy, but it's actually not. The only thing is Tether is creating demand for treasuries,
Yes.
right? So,
And is that not a problematic thing in any way, in your view?
well, yeah, I've heard that argument from some Bitcoiners on some podcasts saying Tether is propping up the dollar. I would not deny that Tether is a valuable ally of the dollar because they're giving it utility, right? But you have to think of it from a free market's perspective. If it wasn't Tether creating this thing, it would be someone else, like Circle. So you have to understand that the void will be filled historically. If you build a time machine, you go back, someone will fill that void, right? If it wasn't Tether, it'd be somebody else. And would they be Bitcoin friendly and would they be building a Bitcoin treasury? If you look at what we have right now, Circle isn't building a Bitcoin treasury, They're not even focused on helping the rest of the world. They're focused on serving the US. So
And Tether is.
yeah, exactly. So if you take into account that there will be a stable coin that will become dominant, this is the best possible outcome that we could possibly have. Tether has built inroads for Bitcoin, actually.
Yes.
You would think, Bitcoin would have built the inroads and we, go Tether through the Bitcoin channels, but it's not. Because people are seeking out the digital dollar. They're not seeking out Bitcoin. And this is something Bitcoiners don't fully understand yet. But we do, so we built Aqua. That's our advantage. But they're seeking out the dollar. They don't even know what Tether is. They just want that digital dollar that is about $1, right? And then they don't have to worry about it. they have other things to do. They have a business, they have children, they have their own lives. They shouldn't be worried about, doing all these things. Like, even you could look at it as investing your money in the stock market is a defect of the monetary system, because why do you need to invest your money to not lose purchasing power? But back to that example, they just want the dollar, and they know Tether now, and we can use that opportunity to introduce them to Bitcoin. That's why we have Aqua with your savings and your spending. So they will use Aqua because they're seeking the dollar, and then they will learn about Bitcoin. But I also added a slide for how much Bitcoin they should have.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this in other places I've gone to. I was in Taiwan, I was in Japan, and I create one slide that says how much Bitcoin a country should have based on their gold holdings. So their tonnage of gold at the market value converted to Bitcoin. So, like, for example, Germany, I think, was 281,000 Bitcoin.
And what's your ratio? Is it like the same? Like the same amount of gold you have, you should have the same amount of Bitcoin? Okay.
And the reason that I do that is then there's no really debate about what is Bitcoin and should you have Bitcoin, because you're anchoring it to gold.
Right.
So if I tell you you should have 281,000 Bitcoin and you say, well, why? I'll say you have a couple thousand tons of gold. Why do you have the gold?
Right. So it's the
think about it yourself.
Yeah, of course.
If it's for
safety, hedging, protection.
Yeah, geopolitical de-risking, the ability to buy things that you need in times of conflict, or
emergency.
propping up your currency.
Yep.
Whatever reasons you have for the gold, it's the same
reason.
exact reason.
Addressing CBDCs, Mow identifies interoperability as a critical weak point. Projects like Enbridge aim to connect different central banks' digital currencies, but the complexities of data protection and governance pose significant hurdles. For Mow, these challenges underscore Bitcoin's inherent advantages: simplicity, transparency, and decentralization. He warns that poorly executed CBDC rollouts, like Brazil's privacy issues, highlight the risks of centralized digital currencies. Bitcoin, by contrast, offers a robust alternative with fewer vulnerabilities and greater alignment with individual freedoms.
We have to do something, and I see our initiatives as a counterpoint to the push for CBDCs. We can just complain and say, oh, that's bad, it's not going to work. But if nobody engages to push something on the Bitcoin side, then they're just going to run rampant with that initiative, those types of initiatives. So I feel like the work we do is valuable. At least I think so.
It is so valuable. We need it so much. And that's why I always encourage people in the end of my annoying presentations about CBDCs, is just, be aware that that's happening. And now your call to action is do something with Bitcoin, onboard people, orange pill, reach out to politicians, do something so that we can at least experience a different reality, where we don't have to be all surveilled and controlled in such a dystopian way.
Yeah, I think a lot of Bitcoiners like to say honey badger don't care. But honey badger cannot care because we're kind of the armor, the thick fur that's insulating it, right? If the honey badger didn't have that thick fur, I'm pretty sure it would care.
100%. And, it doesn't matter how much we think we are on a Bitcoin standard. Some of us, maybe some Bitcoiners are on Bitcoin standard. You live in a fiat reality. We are still in fiat life, right? To some extent, depending where you live, depending what kind of life you're leading. Yeah. So this is not going away. This is just accelerating. And if we don't do our part in accelerating the orange path, then this is going to overtake at some point. I hope it doesn't happen, but it could. So I think we need to be active and prepared about it. So obviously I really like what you're doing. What do you think about Bhutan recently and what we've seen?
So my take on it is that they are mining Bitcoin, but they're trying to be a little bit quiet about it, which kind of is at odds because it's blasted all over the media now. Yeah. Because I think they still have some relations with lenders like IMF or whatnot. But I think it's going to be hard for them not to, to present like, we got $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and we need a loan. I don't think it's going to work well. So I hope I can have some connection there. I want to reach out to them and engage with them to see if they can do Bitcoin as legal tender. If it is, not centralized to one entity, but it's federated, it could be interesting, where you can monitor the supply and, if you can see the issuance and burn. There's probably no burn, but you can see the issuance and you can verify for yourself.
What do you mean can see the issuance on the blockchain?
Yeah,
you mean?
If they do a national stablecoin.
Put transparency on it?
Yeah, I mean, there's no difference between a digital dollar and the the dollar now, except for you could have more transparency.
Yeah.
It can only get better from the way it is right now,
Okay.
in my view. But I don't know if they'll do it the right way or if they'll build privacy in. Just like the panel we spoke yesterday with
Yes.
Marcelo, it's like,
Yes.
you know, they rolled out a CBDC in which country was it? I forgot his example, but they didn't have any transparency. So when you transact with
In Brazil, he was giving the example
oh right, it
of
was Brazil.
Yeah.
So you transact to your cousin sees all your money.
And they failed dismally because of
Yeah.
that. Okay.
So an idea is an idea. Implementation and execution are two other separate things. So we'll see what Trump does if he does
If
that.
it's Trump, if it's...
I think it will be Trump.
I hope
but-
so. Let's see.
Well, the devil's in the details. And like I said yesterday in the panel, most countries are not equipped to build a stable CBDC or even a stable coin. Like,
You were
it's-
referring mostly to the interoperability part of it, the fact that they will not be able to transact with other countries. But do you really think that they will not be able to put that together? Even if it takes them 4, 5, 6 years, they can build that, the interoperability part.
They need to open it at that point, right? But the key is how do you onboard someone to a CBDC?
They have a project called Enbridge that does that creates the interoperability system between different central banks for wholesale CBDC.
We'll see how it works because
Okay.
there are also data protection laws. At least there should be data protection laws. So would the central bank of one European country be okay that the data of their citizens is shared with, I don't know, Kazakhstan?
Let's see how they build it. Okay.
Interoperability of closed systems is a very big problem. This is why Bitcoin fixes so many things.
I get it. Okay, so you're saying that could be like a weak point, that because of that weak point, maybe they will fail.
Not just that, it's just there are so many complexities to rolling out complex systems. You know, it's complicated.
Yeah.
And COVID is a perfect example
Yeah.
of not thinking through the entire complexity and nuance and edge cases of how these things interact with one another. So
Samson Mow's vision is both a rallying cry and a strategic roadmap for Bitcoin's future. He challenges us to recognize the cracks in the existing financial system and seize the opportunity to build a decentralized alternative. From the imminent surge in Bitcoin's value to the geopolitical shifts it will inspire, Mow's insights offer a glimpse into a transformative era. As we navigate these turbulent waters, the choice is clear. Engage actively in shaping a Bitcoin-driven future or risk being swept away by centralized control. Now is the time to act, innovate, and advocate for the financial revolution that Bitcoin promises. Let's be the architects of a freer, more equitable world.
Please like and subscribe my channel.